right, have and have not fans. So I watched every 6 months around 11 o'clock tonight. I actually stepped out. I had to get out of my apartment. I've just been stuck in here for the past few days working on stuff. I just need to get out. I went to Sonic for like the first time in several months. It was like a 40-minute drive to and from Bedford County to go get it. But I mean, I just had to get out the house. But I watched the episode, and up front, I want to say that the episode, in my opinion, was about an 8 out of 10. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I felt like Aaron Boy and Hannah's team, those two episodes from the past couple weeks, I feel like those shows had more to offer. But this episode wasn't bad. I feel like it was just a lot of setup, which isn't a bad thing. But I just felt like this episode didn't have a lot of stuff happening in terms of oh my gosh moments, because we knew the whole Veronica thing. Like, I called it, a lot of people called it, that the ending of the episode would be David walking in on those two having sex. But again, I'm not saying it was a bad episode. It's just like this episode just had me paying attention to a lot of things because of setup. We got the setup of Oscar and Quita, Wyatt's cell phone. I really don't know why Wyatt gave the police officer a cell phone. Like, I rewatched that scene twice and I was just like, yeah, he really should have had a little bit of Jim Cryer in him during that situation. It was good. We got Derek and Hannah talking, the whole thing about going to dinner, and Catherine wants to give Hannah a makeover. I found that it was fun because when you really think about it, it's the opposite of season one, where remember that Candace was the one to give Amanda a makeover. Oh my God. Think about it. Candace gave Amanda a makeover so she could quote unquote persuade Professor Cannon to give her a retest on her exam. And even though it wasn't Candace's fault, Amanda got raped. So what if Hannah was being set up with Derek by Catherine, which she is, and then she gets a makeover, and then it turns out that the man she's dating turns out to be her rapist? That would be a very twisted way of bringing things together full circle. But the beginning of the episode was pretty good. I mean, I love the fact that Candace was still, laughing about beating up Quita, and you saw some of her hair on the floor. At least I think that was Candace's hair. It looked like it. And then George comes out of nowhere. She's like, "What? I have nothing to say to you." And I like George. I mean, say what you want about the guy. I do like the fact that he is confident about himself, but he also knows his shortcomings in terms of, you know what? I don't have the case as strong as it needs to be to take down the Cryers, but it's getting to that point, and we even saw that in the preview for the next episode. But the fact that they're trying the old trick of turning Jeffrey and Candace against each other, but I feel like Candace is pulling a Justin here, where she is making her own enemies. I mean, Candace has enough enemies as it is, but her former allies, so to speak, she's literally starting to turn them against her. Erica, you can tell Erica can't stand Candace. She can't. Basically, she's being pushed into a corner, and at some point, she's going to fight back. And with Jeffrey, it's the same thing as George put, think about how much stress and pressure he's under right now. And it's right, because what was it, David? It's bad when even David tried to find some sort of humanity in Candace in order to have herself, have her turn herself in so Jeffrey can go free. But she wouldn't do it, which is exactly what she did in season one when Benny was in jail because of a scam against Candace. Remember that David had drugs planted in Candace's car. Benny was driving, then he got arrested, and Hannah was like, well, Benny's innocent. Why don't you just go in there, explain what happened, and then he can go free? No, I can't do that, because she only looks out for herself. And as David said, it's like, Jeffrey was helping you. He's like, he did. And then the only reason that she's so resentful right now is the whole Oscar situation, because David set that up. And it just makes me so irritated that Candace still believes that was her money when she extorted that from Jim Cryer. it's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Candace looked pretty good in this episode. I mean, it's not just the lingerie thing, all right? I'm being honest here. It's just like the way she's carrying herself. But I feel like she is definitely cutting ties to her allies. And because of that, they're going to eventually turn on her at some point. And Jeffrey, I swear, even though he's really annoying at times, I do not think we should underestimate Jeffrey Harrington. I really don't. I think he's going to pull a Melissa. Can you imagine if Jeffrey just lets loose in terms of, he lets go of that cowardness side and he becomes like a lethal, cruel, unfeeling. Basically, he becomes his mother in terms of being emotionless, doing whatever it takes to achieve his goal. Imagine that new Jeffrey with the new Melissa. That would be a very dangerous combination. And speaking of Melissa, I just love the fact that she doesn't give a F anymore. She just doesn't care about anything. She's talking back. I mean, I like it. I mean, it's feisty. I love it. And I guess I had to take it back because I made a meme about, Benny and Veronica not knowing how to lock a door. But it looks like they did lock the door this time, unlike they did at Hannah's house where Hannah walked in on them in Benny's room. But now it's like Melissa, picked the lock and it's like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, come on now. But let's see what else is there. Jim Cryer, again, I feel like he's pulling the Candace. I mean, the fact that he was so like dismissive to Sarah, I feel like he was just being an asshole to be an asshole. Let's just put it that way. But whatever. Go home is like, I'll call. It's like, just go home. I'm just like, okay, fine. Now, I'm trying to make sure I cover everything because there is some important I want to talk about Amanda Cryer, but I'll get to that later. Let me just see if there's anything else, why going down there. Quita, that was pretty funny. I love how it's like, what, you trying to say I'm stupid? I was like, okay, well, all the fans have been saying that. And I just love Oscar in this episode just because he was juggling so many. He was literally me in college, like multitasking, getting the job done, but going through the motions of stress and whatnot. So it was pretty interesting to see what he has in store. I mean, the fact that he paid Quita $500 and the officer like a couple $1,000s, I believe. The volume was kind of off. I even rewinded that scene like 3 or 4 times where he's like, "Where's my money?" when he gave him the cell phone, because I know he said he would give him another $1,000, so I know it was over $1,000. But let's see, Charles and Landon. I do like that Charles is looking out for his kids. I do like that. But the whole Landon thing and that woman, I forgot her name. I feel bad because I actually paid attention to that scene, but I forgot her name. But she really reminds me of Maggie Day, because now it really makes sense that Maggie Day really wasn't the only one of her kind, considering that that woman was trying to get with a married senator that Landon pointed out. And now he's trying to go after a straight presidential candidate. It just, I don't know what to make of Landon. I really don't know what they're doing with his character. It's like they're literally trying to make him into Maggie Day, but at the same time making him Jeffrey from season 1. And that's a combination I really don't want to see. I feel like they could do something else with his character. I just don't want to see him become another Maggie Day. And the whole shoe thing, okay, I actually did like, okay, that was pretty clever in terms of, look, it's like if you can't get used to me taking off your shoes, then you won't be able to make the presidential job easier, because think of all the times people are going to be doing menial tasks for you. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. I mean, it's one thing to say, like, let me shine your shoes or something, but just to take them off, it's like, I don't know. But let me just get to Benny. And I even did a video on him over the past week about him making dumb decisions. Maybe that was another reason why this episode was a bit mad to me, because it's just Benny doing stupid stuff. Like, yeah, it was kind of messed up that guy Mitch's uncle kind of figured that Uncle Vinny, was it Vinny? It was like, yeah, because he's black, he wouldn't be able to pay back the money. But to me, it's just like Benny was doing a lot of dumb things because, unbeknownst to him, and again, I don't blame him on this one, it seems to me that Mitch's uncle pretty much cashed in Candace's favor with Mama Rose. Remember, because Candace delivered Warlock, the Malones owed her a favor. So it looks like that favor is being utilized for Benny to get that loan. So I mean, I remember after episode 1, I had a theory that, oh, okay, he's going to borrow the money from the Malones, not be able to pay it back. And then because of that, Candace is going to have to utilize her favor to save her brother's life. But it looks like that lifeline has been used up. And I guess that's where the title of the episode comes from, every 6 months. Like every 6 months is going to be $18,000. And I'm guessing that's going to be what, like every 6 months, $18,000. So I'm guessing that's what, a year and a half. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. But here's another thing I'm thinking about. 6 months is a long time. And think about how much time it takes in this show to even get past 48 hours. And if the show is ending in 2020, okay, theoretically speaking, all right, so we have about this season of the Haves and Have-Nots is going to end around, fall of 2018. Then you got 2019 and 2020. I don't see how we're going to be able to cover 6 months time and only, 2.5 more seasons, give or take. So I get that 6 months. I mean, look at Melissa saying she's been pregnant for 7 to 8 weeks. So we can just say that she's been quote unquote pregnant for 2 months. And keep in mind that Melissa was introduced in season 2 and we're in season 5 right now. So I don't really know how 6 months is going to pass unless they do one hell of a time skip at some point next year. I really don't see how that's going to be possible. But to me, it's just like, I love how Mitch's uncle was kind of like, hey, is he aware of everything? And I love the fact that he gave Benny the terms and conditions in terms of, hey, if you can't pay the money back, what's going to happen to you, right? So I'm glad that everything was put out there. But Benny, I wouldn't say that Benny wasn't taking it seriously, but I don't feel like he fully grasped the situation there. It's like, is he good for it? I'm like, Benny, it's like $18,000. That's a lot of money, especially if you only have one tow truck. So I think it's pretty clear that he's not going to be able to pay the money back. Then we get to the end of the episode where Veronica's literally pulling a Candace trying to deceive Benny because nobody knows or even said that Benny had anything to do with it. The only evidence is that bracelet the DA George has. If he gets the DNA, then he'll know that was Benny. But I really don't think he should have gotten in bed with Veronica. I get that he was trying to resist, but I don't know. So overall, I don't want to ramble on too long. I just feel like this episode, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this really had me engaged. I was paying attention though, just because there's a lot of things to pick up on for future plot points. And you know what? I'm going to do the Amanda thing in the next episode. So basically the DA is going to be visiting Catherine's new house and talking about, how he identified the bullets being the same. So evidently the same gun used to kill Jennifer was the same one used to kill Amanda. In my opinion, there are a few things that make no sense about that theory, but I'll talk about that in a separate video. So overall, this was a decent episode. It wasn't great. It was good. So, I mean, I just like the fact that we're getting stuff done. Like, I just, again, new character interactions like Oscar and Quita, David and Melissa seeing each other for the first time in a while. Well, David seeing this new Melissa, George and Candace talking, and just Jeffrey looking like he's had enough. I just like the fact that Jeffrey isn't going to... I'm telling you, we better not sleep on Jeffrey. I just feel like we need to be paying attention to all these people that Candace thinks she can just run over, because I don't think they're going to be taking her crap for too long. So if you haven't done so already, I highly suggest subscribing to the channel, because I am known for posting a lot of videos during the week because there are a lot of theories to talk about. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you rank the episode as in the comment section below, and be on the lookout for my Amanda Crier video.